Namaste. Jai Shivai. Let's talk about the levels of transformation today. Okay, how many levels are there? When you are doing your Kriya yoga, your meditation, your dharana, then at how many levels the transformation is happening within you? So until you understand those three levels, you may think like that, you are doing sadhana and practices since so long, such a long time, and yet nothing has changed, or very little has changed. So if you understand the levels of transformation, then it will be easier for you to see that yes, this has changed in you, right? And when you understand your own transformation, what subtle things are changing, what levels are changing, then it gives you an inspiration. It boosts your morale, right? That see, I have changed this thing in me. This thing no longer happens with me. So that is another way of looking at your own progress. How much you have progressed. So let's talk about the first level of transformation. First level of transformation starts with the default nature of mind. Now by mind here, I actually mean chitta. Okay? When we say chitta, we are not talking about buddhi, okay, intellect. But the English word mind includes buddhi, includes intellect as well. But here we are not talking about that. Intellect is more about taking a decision and dividing something and doing sort of analysis and critical thinking and all those kind of stuff. But here we are talking about chitta. Chitta, where your sanskaras, your vasanas have been stored since lifetimes. Okay, so what is the default nature of mind? 4 default natures are there, okay, of mind, of chitta. For first one is mundane. We call it vyutthan state of chitta, mundane state of chitta. Okay, where you are busy with okay, I need to brush my teeth, I need to take shower, I need to go and work, I need to do this thing in work, I need to take care of this, that, and all the life and living and normal stuff. I need to eat food, I need to drink water, and I'm thirsty now. So managing all these things, maintaining all your body functions, voluntary as well as involuntary functions, right? Maintaining your body well, running your life in a way. All this is a vyutthan state of chitta. Okay, that's the default nature of chitta. But it's not that it cannot be transformed. It can be transformed. Second nature of chitta is a disturbed state. Okay, second default nature of mind is a disturbed one. That's also a default nature of mind. That mind is disturbed and running in all kinds of directions and for things and events and people and everywhere. Now, the realization that your mind at one point of time has ran into 100 different directions simultaneously. So running of the mind in 100 different directions happens more like in a parallel way. You know how parallel processing happens in computers, right? So it has ran in 100 different directions in one point of time. But the realization happens sequentially. You may become aware of, oh, now my mind is thinking about this thing. In a next moment, you will become aware of, now the mind is thinking about this. Next moment about something else, and then next moment, and then next moment. So one by one, in a linear fashion, in a sequential fashion, you will become aware of in how many directions actually your mind has gone. His mind is running. So this is the disturbed state of chitta, disturbed state of your mind. Third one is focused state. Focused state of chitta, ekagra state of chitta. Focused state of chitta is where you are focused on one thing. Okay. Now this focus could be on one thing, could be for a very long duration, or it could be for a very small duration. When you say I am multitasking, that means you are focusing on one thing at a time and for a smaller duration, and that way you are focusing on 10 different things. For 10 different things, your focus is shifting from A to B to C to D to E to and so on. So for a shorter period of time, your focus is shifting, and then you are saying, okay, I am multitasking. But then comes a long-term focus. That for days you were focused, for hours you were focused on one thing and only one thing. For example, if you are reading a book, right? Then you may read a book for 2 hours, few hours at a time, and then mundane state of your chitta may happen. Mundane state of your mind may return because you may be feeling hungry now, or you may have to go and get up, drink water, or do something else that is related to running the mundane activities for the body, for the life. So that state can come back, or after reading, maybe a call comes and you get disturbed. Something happens and you get disturbed, or some memory happens because of the reading. Something comes, or if there may not be any external cause except that you remembered something from the past and you got disturbed. So the disturbed state may come back. So your focused state will be disturbed. The default mind will lose its default nature of being focused. So mind will keep on taking all these default natures. Last one is none of them. When mind is neither busy with managing mundane, nor it is into a disturbed state, it's not running anywhere at all. There is nowhere to run. Okay? And neither there is focus on anything, something, nothing, no focus at all. No attention paying on anything at all. And these three states are lost. That is the state we call it as Niruddha state, which happens in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Okay? Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Niruddha state is achieved of Chitta. Chitta takes its default nature of the Chitta has been transformed to the last one, when none of these are there. So Niruddha state is there. So this is first level of transformation, or you can say, in other words, highest level of transformation actually. Okay. So when we are talking about changing the default nature of Chitta, in other words, we are trying to change, if we talk in Sanskrit, then we are saying we are changing the dharma of Chitta. So Chitta has 4 dharmas. Vyuthan, Chanchal, it means disturbed. Vyuthan means mundane. Ekagra means focused. And none of these is Niruddha. Okay. So this is the highest level of transformation that goes on at the level of Chitta. Okay. Next, now let's talk about one level below. What's the one lower level of transformation? That happens, lower level of transformation, actually happens in these default natures itself. So default nature will have characteristics. Characteristics means lakshan. So lakshan or the characteristics are dependent on time. Time as in past, present and future. So the transformation can happen in the at the characteristics level, lakshan level. How? For example, suppose the default nature of a tree is to bear fruit, and now you have fruit. You are in the fruitified state. Now, according to the time scale, the characteristic of the fruit is going to change. It may be unripe yesterday, it is ripe today, it may be overly ripe or rotten tomorrow, and it will return to its seed state even in the future. Right? So these are the characteristics. If we talk about the characteristics of mind, then say for example, let's take one default nature, which is mundane. Okay, then from the mundane standpoint, the characteristic of a mundane will change according to the time. When you were a child, mundane for you meant brushing your teeth, taking shower, doing your homework, listening to your parents, doing some chores here and there. So the definition, the default nature of mind as a mundane has had a different characteristics when you were a child. When you turned into a youth, suddenly your mundane changed, right? Now you had some hormones running in your body, so the mundane definition of mundane was also beautifying yourself. It's no longer just about cleaning, brushing your teeth and taking shower and whichever way your hairs are. When you are a teenager, or when you are grown up, you are youth, the definition of mundane, the characteristics of mundane change for you. Now you want to beautify yourself. You do not want to just cover your body with the clothes, whichever clothes your mom gave you. Instead, you want to wear clothes according to your own choice. It's no longer about just doing homework. It's also about interacting when dealing with all the social media when you are a teenager, right? So mundane has changed in the present. Yet mundane will change when it comes to your adult life. When you are in your 30s, suddenly career becomes important, relationships become even more important, and something else may become very important. Money may become your important for you. So definition of mundane is changing like that, right? So on the time scale, your past, present, future, and even in the future, in old age, mundane will be about maintaining your body very much in the proper way. When you are in your 40s, going to the doctor, getting all your blood work done, getting all your maintenance of all your health and your body related things, sustaining, investing the money here and there that you have earned in last few years, right? So all that will become your mundane, and your way of dressing, your way of cleaning your body, maintaining your body changes, your way of maintaining your life changes. So mundane is changing for you. The characteristics of mundane are changing, transforming according to the time scale. Same thing is with another default nature. Let's pick up the disturbed state of default nature. When you were a child, if you lost your toy, or if it was broken, or if some other kid asked for your toy, that was very disturbing, right? Or if your friend is not talking to you and not playing with you, that disturbed your mind. But when you are a teenager, a very different kind of disturbance happens to you now. Mental disturbance, physical disturbance. So mental disturbance has changed for you, because now it's more about what hormones are kicking in your body, and as a result, in what ways they are changing your mind. So disturbances of a different kind. When you are in your 30s, 40s, disturbances of a very different kind. Yet when you are in the old age, the different disturbances of a completely different kind. So you see, the characteristics of the default nature are changing according to the time. Now, if you had an ekagra, focused state, then also maybe you may be focused on reading lot of comics and the storybooks. And then when you were a youth, then maybe the autobiographies and or the inspiration books, or you developed interest into something else, and now you are focused on completely on totally different things. Your focus has shifted, your focus has changed, and yet when you are in your 30s, your 40s, your focus may be completely different in life, right? And when you are in your old age, then some other focus may happen, a different level of focus may happen. The focus may increase in one thing that you had since childhood. So the intensity of focus and intensity of the concentration may change. Some people lose their focus. A lot of time in the process of growing up, as the time changes, people lose their focus and concentration. Not just from one thing. In general, they lose it from anything and everything. They can no longer focus for a long time on one thing. Because the disturbed state, default nature of the mind as disturbance or as disturbed, has stayed for too long. If the mind stays in one state for too long, naturally the other state does not come. And then it gives a feeling as if I can no longer focus, I can no longer concentrate, but it is not true. Anytime the default nature can be changed, just like the characteristics of the default nature can be changed, right? The transformation can happen at that level. When comes the last one? The Niruddha state. So let's finish this focused state first. So focus in the intensity can change. The subject of focus can be changed. Yesterday you may be focusing only on samsara and the goals of samsara, and suddenly vairagya happen. And God, you started asking big questions. Dispassion happened within you from the samsara. And now you are more focused on your spiritual journey. Attaining moksha, meeting God, divine, becoming one with Paramatma, living as an Atma, attaining all the Gyan, Bodh, all the Jnana, all the wisdom about yourself, who you are, as to who you truly are, right? So focus when focus becomes deeper and deeper and deeper, then all the other things are lost. The deeper state of focus is dhyana, is dharana, is dhyana, and the ultimate, deepest level of focus is samadhi, savikalpa samadhi. But when none of these exist, then it's a niruddha state of chitta. Niruddha state is nirvikalpa samadhi. So the characteristics of nirvikalpa samadhi is that it starts. Niruddha state is achieved. None of these three states are the default nature of chitta or default nature of your mind anymore. Instead, the default nature of niruddha is attained. And then within that also subtle transformation starts happening. Niruddha state has to become deeper and deeper and deeper, and it has to be sustained for a longer and longer and longer and longer duration. That's when the samadhi completes. And dharmamegh samadhi happens. That means permanently achieving the niruddha state, where none of such sanskara remains which can become a cause for rebirth, which can give you another birth and another death. So that is attained. So characteristics are dependent on time, past, present, future. So the transformation, when you are looking at the transformation, you have to look at this lower level as well. Now, there is yet another lower level. Another lower level is considered as the state transformation of the characteristics. So the transformation of characteristics were resulting into the default nature, and transformation in the states of characteristic will result into the different characteristic. So say for example, if we talk about mundane only, then one of the characteristic of mundane is that suddenly in your young stage, let's talk about just one time only. Say for example, you are an adult of a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old, and now the mundane is no longer important for you. You're doing it what is supposed to be done, and you are managing all your mundane, but it's no longer your whole soul attention. Means you are able to change the state there. You are able to change the characteristic. One of the characteristic is from the present, taking it to the future. So moving the characteristics on the time scale is called as state transformation. Okay. Same thing is with disturbed state. Disturbed state may change. Default nature of disturbed may have that you may be less disturbed yesterday, you are more disturbed today, yet you may be intensely disturbed tomorrow, or you may not be disturbed at all. So changing the state from past to present to future is the state transformation. Because time is not, either you leave everything on time. So time is not going to fix everything, right? How many times so many people have noticed that they had been hurt, or they had been carrying some kind of emotional wound within, or some kind of grief within, and they learn to manage it with the time, but it's not that they have forgotten, and it's not that it has healed. It has not gone anywhere at all. So time alone is not going to change everything. External factors alone are not going to change the state. One person may be disturbed about money when he was in his 20s. He may be the same at 30s, 40s, 60s, 50s, 90s, and whatever. He may forever be disturbed about money. One person may be insecure about love to start the life with, and he may be that way when he is ending the life. So time alone is not going to do the state transformation. You have to do it consciously. So changing the states of the characteristics will change the default nature. Understand this. Be very focused right now. Transforming the states of the characteristics will change the default nature. So when you are doing your Kriya sadhana, yoga, tapasya, meditation, whatever your guru has given you, or whatever you have adopted as a life practice for yourself, if you are doing it for few years, then it may look like no change has happened. But no, change is constantly happening within you at these three levels. First level is the state transformation. Second level is the characteristic transformation. Okay. Third level is the default nature transformation. So when you are moving from a disturbed person to the person who is always busy with the mundane, to the person who is focused to some extent, to a person who is highly, deeply focused, to the person who has attained vairagya, dispassion, and is focused on spiritual matter only, to the person to whom dharana has happened, to the person in whom dhyana has happened, to the person who is in samadhi, to the person who has attained moksha. Now these three levels are also what constitutes your perception. Not just about yourself, but also about everything else in the world. How many times you have judged people, labeled people, thinking that, oh, this person is highly manipulative, or this person is just highly disturbed person. You are not realizing that they may change tomorrow, because everybody's mind, everybody's chitta has these 4 default natures of managing the mundane, of managing the disturbance or being disturbed, and being focused, and being niruddha. Everybody's chitta, everybody's mind stands a chance of changing, transformation. Stand a chance of transformation into, and you may have met somebody when they were busy with mundane. And then the person may react or behave in a different way, respond in a different way completely. The tendency of your mind, of your chitta, is to react. When chitta is in the mundane state or disturbed state, it goes down when a person is in the focused state. People start, instead of reacting, people start responding. Means they are conscious of their reaction. They are not reacting unconsciously. They are giving a conscious response. That happens in focused state. Different levels of focused state. So you cannot label or judge a person just because today you have seen them very disturbed, or you have seen them busy with mundane, or you have seen them focused on something wrong or bad. Because all the levels, or everybody's chitta, every person holds a chance to be different at different times in their life. Okay? Many times you draw conclusions about yourself as well. Oh no, I am not focused at all. I cannot read a book. No, that is not true. You can. You can if you start consciously changing the state of the characteristics of your disturbed default nature. Okay? So try looking into this and try to figure out in how many times in life you have faced an error of perception. You have been committing this error of perception where you draw conclusions. You have drawn conclusions for other people and for yourself, and that has made you stay stuck in life. How many times you made a perceptional errors? You thought the default nature of this person is like that, while it was just a state, while what you saw was just a characteristic of their default nature, not the default nature itself. How many times you confuse the state with the characteristic with the default nature, and yet take it as a person altogether, beholder, bearer of these default natures. You mistake in between these 3 things. You confuse the characteristic, which is dependent on time scale, with the default nature of a person. So many people make that mistake. Right? And that results in misunderstanding the other person, misunderstanding the life itself. Do one homework. As a homework, do one thing. Write down 5 errors of perception that have happened in your life because you confused between the default nature and the characteristics and the state. Those who want to do this homework in Hindi or Sanskrit, then try to see how many times the error of perception you have committed because of mistaking or confusing between dharma, default nature, dharma, lakshan, lakshan means characteristics, and avastha means state of the characteristic of avastha, avastha of the lakshan. So not understanding dharma, lakshan and avastha, not understanding the default nature, characteristics and states properly, everybody commits the errors in their perception. The perception becomes polluted. The world around you that you perceive, that perception becomes polluted. So do this homework. Write down 5 errors of perception from your own life, examples from your own life. Using these 3 scales, these 3 levels of transformation, understanding these 3 things properly, and then write down and write it to us. The email is given in the description box, so write it to us and I will try to respond to as many of you as possible. Do not expect an instant reply though, but I will try to respond if you have understood this matter properly or not. Because if you do not fix your perception, you're going to commit more mistakes. And forget about other people in the life and things around you. About yourself, your perception will be wrong. You will think, I am like this, I am like that, and you may not be. Or that nothing is changing, or that this has changed in me, yet it may not be the change at all. So by understanding these 3 things properly, try to do the homework and send us an email. Okay? Namaste. Jai Shiva.